So the defense started out by asking Cassie Ventura if she was in love with Sean Combs for 11 years. And then they said, you believed that he needed you, right? At which point Ventura said, in some ways I did. From there, the defense pulled up several emails and text messages from early in the relationship between Ventura and Combs. Now, I'm not going to lie, some of these messages were very explicit, but they show Ventura expressed that she couldn't wait at some points in time to have sex with more than one person.
In court for Cassie, it was disastrous. It was disastrous for the prosecution and their entire case against Diddy. In court, it was pretty evident, bro. The prosecution is in over their head. You could tell there is a clear gap in skill between the prosecution and Diddy team of attorneys being spearheaded by Brian Steele. A lot of y'all was introduced to Brian Steele when y'all seen his brilliant defense of Young Thug.
Oh, yeah, that's the same dude. Yo, Brian Steele getting that paper this year off you niggas. Shout out to Brian Steele for protecting the blacks. He the one who went to jail with Young Thug to help him fight his case. He was going to jail anyway, but he was like, yo, could you make me sell these with Thug? We working on something.
Young Thug was 100% guilty of a lot of those charges, but Brian Steele was so brilliant. He was so outclassing the prosecution that he was able to get a mistrial, and he was able to get the prosecution to buckle to their knees and give Young Thug a plea deal that allowed Young Thug to get out and face 0 jail time but a suspended sentence. And now he's working his magic for Diddy. Like, do you see how Diddy is hugging this good white man?
He looked very pleased. I don't know how accurate this depiction is, but he looks very, very, very pleased.
Knows his savior has arisen, and this is his only hope of beating this case. And so far, Brian Steele is putting on an absolute execution and display of brilliance, bro. Whatever Diddy is paying this man, $5-10 million, is well-deserved money. Brian Steele is outsmarting the prosecution every way possible. Diddy already had his team of attorneys. He hired Brian Steele midway through the process. And when Brian Steele came on board, you could tell from the very beginning, Brian Steele was thinking 20 steps ahead and trying to outsmart everyone. Because the first thing we started to hear when Brian Steele came on board was, yo, Diddy is looking for more women on
the white Johnny Cochran
defense team. You know why? Because Brian Steele walked in and Brian Steele asked the team of attorneys, which one of y'all are going to be cross-examining Cassie? And the attorney was like, yo, us. We're great at cross-examination. We're going to get her in all her inconsistency lies. And Brian Steele says, yo, is you stupid? Like, are you dumb? You're going to have a bunch of Caucasian white men cross-examining Cassie and being really aggressive with her on the
while she on the stand, pregnant, crying, talking about getting pissed all over. Yeah, it's not going to go over too well. It's like having me cross-examine her. They don't want that.
For an essay and a trafficking case? Are you stupid? Cut the sausage party, bro. Where the women at, bro? So then Brian Steele began to orchestrate to bring in more women. Brian Steele specifically brought in 3 women who were all victims of SA.
Yo, where the hoes at?
And they were going to be the women that were going to be cross-examining Cassie or quote-unquote checking her. Just that small detail that Brian Steele was able to catch that nobody else was able to catch shows why Brian Steele gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah, but why would they think that was even appropriate? They would know that. I'm surprised he didn't have a female lead attorney. That's what a lot of people do in these situations. It seems like the obvious choice, but that's all right. You know, that's why, like you said, that's why Brian get paid the big bucks. Shout out Brian Steele one more time.
That decision paid off, bro. That decision essentially just saved Diddy. Yo, Diddy and Brian Steele and his attorneys, they were fearful of Cassie's testimony. That was going to be the one thing they felt, yo, we can't really beat this. Yo, they was up at night thinking about Cassie testifying. So far, they've been able to manage this pretty well. Because you know what happened? Brian Steele's decision of including a SA victim who is an attorney to cross-examine Cassie, that paid off magically, bro. Because that person was able to get a lot of information out of Cassie that ain't make her look good, bro.
Right, girl talk.
And it made Diddy look like, dare I say it, an innocent man, to be honest, bro. Now, I'm not saying
right, don't go too, innocent is, okay. He of this crime, of racketeering.
I'm saying it made him look innocent. Even though Cassie was being cross-examined by Diddy attorney, Cassie was sharing a laugh with the attorney during the cross-examination. It didn't feel like a cross-examination. She wasn't pressuring Cassie to answer the yes or no questions. She was sort of like bypassing it. And just Cassie showing that level of comfortability came across great to the jurors. And it looked really great for Diddy attorneys. However, it was still a cross-examination, and they still got some really great info out of Cassie and got her to admit to a lot that looked really favorable on Diddy's behalf.
Lunchtime update, Cassie on the stand, her first day of cross-examination. And I don't want to say it's super intense because Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estevea, she's doing an amazing job at being very gentle. I mean, Cassie and her have exchanged a few laughs while she was on the stand, which I thought was pretty incredible. And
which is freaking amazing. You laugh with your cross-examiner, it's over. It's over. It's like taking that Pepsi from the police when they take you in the back, or Coke, white people, I don't know, whatever they give you. It's like accepting that cigarette. Yeah, they got you.
There's a lot of explicit graphic text that we're seeing from Cassie to Diddy and vice versa. And Estevea is saying, look, if you don't want to read these, you don't have to, which I thought was really nice. Also, when Cassie...
Look, she even thinks she's nice. It's a setup. It's all whatever. Go ahead.
Answers, and it's kind of a yes or no question. Estevea isn't like, it's yes or no. She's being very, very calm and very kind. Now, what we saw, like right off the bat here, was a conversation via BlackBerry between Diddy and Cassie about 2.5 years into their relationship. And remember, at this point, Cassie testified during direct that he had a her, she didn't want to do freak offs, all this stuff.
And that right there is the basis of the prosecution's entire case against Diddy. Cassie was the first one who accused Diddy of trafficking. That was included in her lawsuit. And the only reason...
Oh, so the trafficking was stated in her lawsuit. I thought the lawsuit was more about abuse and, mental... No, so it was actually stated in the crime form. And so at that point, coupled with his high profile name and her saying something like that, of course the feds had to come in. What other choices they had?
Why she included that was because of I think like the Mann Act, right? That extends like the window for where a victim of trafficking can sue. So Cassie included that. But when Cassie is testifying, I didn't want to do this. I was doing it against my will. He was making me do this. And then the gigolos or the male escorts are testifying, oh no, she instructed me to take a piss on her. Oh no.
Actually, they said she asked him to slow down, to piss slower. Allegedly, that's what they said.
He's the one who handed me the money. And then you see text messages where she's requesting to do the free calls. And people are like, hold on, bro. You're requesting to do these things,
right? Because
you want to keep Diddy to yourself. So if you're
right, which makes no sense. If you're afraid and coerced and you want to get away, sounds like you made decisions to me, but that's just to me. I listen, y'all. I don't think that Diddy is innocent at all. I think he totally took advantage of the woman, and he's older and smarter and wiser and all of the other things. But I also think what many a scammer, well, old school scammers used to say, is you can't hustle an honest man or woman in this particular case, meaning she was still trying to get what she was trying to get. She still wanted to be in that relationship. She wanted to be involved with the billionaire diddler, and it was worth it to her. The ass whipping was worth it at that time, and whatever else came with it. So whether or not she's arguing now that she didn't enjoy the freak offs, who knows? She probably did at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But I know definitely she made a conscious decision to overlook his misdoings in the whole process and not stop her ability to have access to whatever Diddy gave her.
Things in messages, in emails, it's kind of hard to now paint the narrative. Again, I'm not saying Diddy didn't force her to do these things. I'm saying how it comes.
I would say force, it's coerced. Manipulated. Manipulated. You know what I mean?
At trial, if we're trying to use our reasoning, our comprehension to figure out who's winning this case and who's not, it looks away when there's emails and messages of you asking for the free calls.
And she actually said that he said, I miss you already. When do you want to FO? That was Diddy. And she said, I'm always ready to FO. And again, this was August of 2009, about 2 years into their relationship.
She said she always ready. So she said. But now then she gonna turn around and argue, I was just saying that because I loved him so much. Well, if you loved him so much, then it ain't a RICO. And to be fair, she got her money. This is the government, picking up the charges, whatever. She got her paper. This is them doing what they want to do. So continue.
About when it would be best for them. And then they talk about getting an escort involved. We see a text message that says, I can't wait to stare at your BBD. You guys know what I'm talking about. And again, lawyer did not make her say it out loud. There's a lot of explicit text messages. And look, I think some of the takeaways here at what the defense is doing and what they're eliciting out of Cassie is, again, the email saying she loves him after these FOs. And don't get mad at me. Don't tell me, I understand how trauma works, but I'm just relaying all this to you guys. So Cassie testified that she had to do freak offs during her period. And we were shown an email where,
yeah, not for me. This is, my personal thing.
For FO planning purposes, asks her when she's getting her period, and she says she's skipping it that month. Additionally, she testified that she's
on a pill to turn it off, probably.
To be a swinger because she didn't want to see him with another woman. Well, we see an exchange where she says she has a fantasy about seeing him with another woman.
Brian Steele did a very great job at making the security guard, the second person who testified, at making him look discreditable. He hopped off that stand and people was looking at him like, man, bro, like this witness was a waste of time. Because there's no way a jury is going to buy anything he just said. Because Brian still got him to admit that he copied the footage to show it to his wife. He was cloud chasing. He lied about a couple of things, lied on the report. Brian still discredited him completely.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy when he went through because the cop had a bunch of things that he said that he saw that he did not report in his initial report, but he was then saying it then. And the obvious answer to why he would not have reported some of those things is because at the time he was protecting Diddy. You know what I mean? This is big name Diddy. He didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went. He just know this was a bad night and things went wrong.
To start witness, this is her story. Her story is why Diddy is currently being indicted and charged. So when you catch Cassie in a couple of white lies, like, hey yo, he made me do this when I was leaking, but then Diddy is asking, hey yo, when is your period so we don't film, is kind of looking crazy.
Yes, it's not consistent.
When you're texting him, yo, I want to F right now, yo, I really miss the free calls, it looks a certain way. When you're texting him, oh, I love you, thank you, it looks a certain way.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But then people are gonna, argue stuff like not Munchausen syndrome. What is it? The one with Stockholm syndrome, when you've been with somebody for so long, you just start loving your captor. They're gonna argue something like that, but we'll see.
Now, there's the message, which to me is like the smoking gun, where Cassie expressed. Now Cassie is, I didn't want to do it. He made me do it. No. Cassie would express she loved doing the freak offs in the messages, but the smoking gun is her reason for why she wanted to slow down on the freak offs. And it had nothing to do with her feeling degraded, her feeling disgusted, her feeling, no.
It was them UTIs, right? That's what it was?
Didn't want to do it. Well, you're going to have to watch the rest of the video to hear it.
And I'm paraphrasing here. She also says at one point that, quote, she'd travel anywhere to be with him. And this is while they are discussing an FO in this one message, this BlackBerry message. Another big thing here is the drug talk and the opioid talk. So Cassie testified that Diddy told her he was addicted to opioids. And the defense is basically saying, well, did you see him try to get off these opioids or come down from them? And she said, yeah. And then they said, well, that makes one volatile, angry. And again, I'm
dope sit.
but basically what they were alluding to is that Diddy's violent behavior and aggressive behavior and all of his mood swings that she talked about were because he was coming down from opioids. Let me make sure. I feel like I have so many notes from today. Yeah, again, a lot of graphic messages, mainly about Cassie saying how much she liked it after it happened. It was so good, and she's talking about FOs. Oh, something really big that they're trying to prove here. Cassie felt like she didn't have the words to relate to Diddy because she was so young that she didn't want to do this and yada yada, referring to the FOs. Well, we've seen a lot of messages from Cassie to Diddy that are paragraphs, let's say, explaining certain things to him, really seeming to wear her heart on her sleeve. At one point she said, look, I'm unsure about the FOs because I feel like, before when we were doing them, and this is a few years into their relationship, she said, before we were doing them, I could spend time with you after. Now we're doing them and you're leaving right away.
These messages are showing Cassie enjoyed the FOs. She enjoyed it. It wasn't a thing that she was dreading or a thing that she was looking at as, oh my God. No, she enjoyed it. Her only gripe against it when it got to a point was she wanted more time with Diddy. She wanted Diddy to do the FOs and then stay there, cuddle, and treat her like an actual girlfriend.
And and let me tell y'all, let me drop a jewel on y'all for old sexual. Oh, you guys saying sexual? Actual pioneers such as myself or OG. Listen, if you into some freaky stuff with a woman, you gotta cuddle her just as long as you was, doing whatever you was doing to her. It's equal, probably about twice as long if you want to keep her on even keels. That's just my personal experience. You can't just smut her out and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna make her feel dirty and make her want to do it less. And clearly, it played out real bad for Diddy. But I'm just saying, to the young brothers, if you out there, you doing strange things. Tinkle, that's not really necessarily my thing. But if you're doing wild stuff, try to cuddle her just as long as you was, whipping her, spanking her, whatever y'all was into.